Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Otsego City Council meeting. Tonight is Monday, July 13th. Audra, can you have the record show that our city attorney is online, our city planners present, our city engineers present, along with all council members, along with our assistant city administrator and our city administrator. At this time, I'll ask you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item this evening, we are going to have the oath of office and swearing in. So I will ask Chief McCoy to join me up front, along with firefighter Aaron Endy, and then we will do firefighter Grant Carlson next. I state your name.
I, Aaron Endy,
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of firefighter for the city of Otsego.
do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of firefighter in the city of Otsego.
I pledge to carry out these duties to the best of my ability,
I pledge to carry out the duties to the best of my ability,
and I will honor and respect the mission,
and I will honor and respect the mission,
goals, and policies of the Otsego Fire Department.
goals, and policies of the Otsego Fire Department.
I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith and trust.
I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith and trust.
I will serve the residents of the city of Otsego with passion, dedication, and integrity.
I will serve the residents of the city of Otsego with compassion, dedication, honor, and integrity.
And to uphold the laws and constitutions of the United States of America, the state of Minnesota, and the city of Otsego.
And to uphold the laws and constitutions of the United States of America, the state of Minnesota, the city of Otsego.
And at this time, we'll ask girlfriend to begin. Front. All right. Thank you. All right, this time I'll ask Grant Carlson and his parents to come up also. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Grant Carlson,
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of firefighter for the city of Otsego.
I solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of firefighter for the city of Otsego.
I pledge to carry out these duties to the best of my ability
I pledge to carry out these duties to the best of my ability
and will honor and respect the mission,
and will honor and respect the mission,
goals, and policies of the Otsego Fire Department.
goals, and policies of the Otsego Fire Department.
I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith and trust.
I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith and trust.
I will serve the residents of the city of Otsego with passion, dedication, honor, and integrity.
I will serve the residents of the city of Otsego with compassion, dedication, honor, and integrity.
And to uphold the laws of the Constitution of the United States of America, the state of Minnesota, and the city of Otsego.
and to uphold the laws and constitutions of the United States of America, the state of Minnesota, and the city of Otsego. Thank you, Mayor.
This time, stand so we can hear. Right. Thank you. No, sir.
Next.
All right. Our next item of business this evening is the open forum. This is the portion of the meeting where you can come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Would anyone like to speak at this time?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Jeannie Holland, County Commissioner, just came with an update. Haven't had that for a while. I know you guys are getting ready for your budgets, and I did share with Adam that the contract for your deputies will go up to $122 an hour. We wanted to keep that lower. That's like a 6% increase, but sadly, it's the insurance that went up 18%. So in relation to that, we are very excited though when we look at your per capita. And I think your per capita rate for your deputies is around $80. And if you look at the city of Rogers and Elk River and Big Lake, it's a third of what they're paying. So you get a lot of bang for your buck, and especially at Otsego because you have Jason Owens and you have the prize of the department that supports you guys. I do have to say that we weren't really paying attention this year during the legislative season because it was a bonding year. Bonding, we were making sure we were getting money coming back. Usually they don't send anything our way budgetarily because the budget year is the year before. But because the federal government sent the SNAP down to the state, and then the state decided that they were going to put it into the counties, we are seeing right now that would be a 9% increase in our levy, which is basically $9 million. We have been working diligently to bring as much of that increase down. We are going through the budget again like we did last year. Remember last year we went from 14% down to 5 and like 5.5. This year it looks like it would be like 10%. We want to get it down to 5. That might be a little harder because we did go through last year, but we've already cut $750,000 from HHS, which is huge. We've realigned a lot of things. We've eliminated staff, which is very unheard of in government. So very proud of all the hard work that our leaders are doing. Our department heads are looking diligently. And not only that, the staff themselves are seeing how we can save money in many ways because they too are taxpayers. Property tax is the only way we can get money, sadly. I know Senator Hoffman was very upset with that shift for the SNAP benefits. We did ask if we could, cut down on how many people receive SNAP, and we are not allowed to by federal law. So we are pretty much stuck with that shift. Not happy about it at all. It's not, we're going to be working very hard next session to make sure more shifts don't come, because this is the time of the year where I get sick to my stomach thinking about all the people that I don't like property taxes. And when I was on the school board for 14 years, I always worried about the young families and the people on fixed incomes. And I know it's been said before, like in the past, in the last couple months, that we have a $19 million surplus, but that 19 million is similar to what you guys do at the city level. As when I was on the school board for 14 years, we have to keep 3 to 6 months surplus to the side in case, because we've seen it. I've seen it in now 3 of the committees I'm on. The federal government doesn't pay in time, or the state doesn't pay in time. We need to have that money to pay our staff and to keep the county running. So I would love to use that $18 million to bring the levy down. It would be great, but it's by our auditors and by the government rules and regulations. We are keeping that in case something would ever happen, because we never know when we already know that this fall, we might see another federal shutdown. And we have a lot of federal grants that we process through the county as well as state. We don't know what's going to happen in the state. Hoping that elderly waiver doesn't come our way. We fought that really hard 2 years ago during the budget season. So we're kind of in precarious times as far as the county goes. The county knows that you guys have an impact. Your schools have an impact, because if the county, if the property tax is raised because of the county, a little harder to get bonds and levies to pass for schools. And then it is very hard for you guys to be able to budget. I'm working really hard because I know that from your standpoint, that is not a fun place to be, because that is too how you guys get your taxes to run your city. So kind of sad news, not very fun news, but it is what it is. But know that we're just going line by line. This is we have 2 months of it. So we're already every day going into meetings to figure out how we can better utilize staff and kind of bring that tax levy burden down. So does anybody have any questions?
Have anything? Corey?
Madam Mayor? Hey, Jeannie, are you able to share, what departments you had to cut down on positions, or?
HHS is pretty broad. It's public health and it's social services. So what we did is one of the biggest ones was we had a big phone system so that it would track the people that called so that they get a call back. But then with IT looking at it, and we figured out that we can better align those phone calls through the software and products we already had. So right there, we saved about $100,000. And then we know just kind of how things come into HHS, how many people touch it. So we've streamlined that. And then some of the kind of the management, because we were seeing that a lot of the positions that we have very hardworking staff. So we had some people going out to retire. And so now is the time. We've done that in a lot of our other departments as well. Just as they're retiring, we're not backfilling those positions, just so that we want to be really trimmed down. And we know we can do it. But maybe we're very trim right now on the facility sides of things, which is our highway and our assessors and our surveyors. We chopped a lot last year on that. They're really running slim. We can't really do much. We might have to cut a little on DMV, which would mean people have to wait a little bit. Next year we won't have to worry so much about elections, but elections right now are taking a lot of time and energy and money. So a lot of things that we're looking at. We're a big animal. It's a big budget and a lot of people, 830 employees that we have. So a lot of people working for us. We want what's best for them because we want to keep them and retain them. But we also know that, bottom line, it's the property tax burden that we don't want to shift. So.
Thank you. Because isn't Wright County one of the fastest growing in the state, or the fastest?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are taking that into account, Corey. We know that we don't want to slim it down too much because of course, like the assessors, we're just to the brink of probably having to get another assessor just to the state mandates that are coming to the assessor's office. But so far they feel that they can handle it because we did have somebody leave so that we do have a position open. And I did ask this morning, like, are we okay? And they feel like they're not burdened too much. I mean, it's more work for them, but they also understand the big picture. So I'm super proud of our staff. I'm super proud of our administration to really take these deep dives and look at it. So yeah.
I think there's probably a lot of opportunity in that streamlining. I think you mentioned before the software. It's
Yes.
seen its life cycle here, and
Yes.
Opportunities around.
Exactly. And just like I'm sure some of you have heard, we're switching over from Beacon to making our own system. That's going to save us some money. The public isn't as excited about it because they haven't seen how it works, but we're really confident with our GIS system people that they know like what we need and what we're looking at. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Software, like you said, Corey,
Are there any projects that would impact Otsego that are looking at shifting at all? Or
No, I don't think so. Yeah. And I'm very proud. I can always say that you guys are very good about when the sheriff comes and says you need so many hours of sheriff contracts, you're very willing to take that on. There are some cities that do a lot of pushback on that. And but our sheriff's department is very excited always to come to you guys because you're very, very good with working with, knowing what your, basically your constituents need and want. And then of course, you have Jason too, that kind of advocates for you guys. So yeah. But no, and I'm fighting for you. So know that I will keep my eye on it and hoping for the best.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other comments? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
guys.
Jeannie.
Any other comments?
Carl Senator, 9539 Parkington Avenue. I had sent all the council members and new mayor an email on the 28th, 2 weeks ago. 29th, I got an email from DDL, I'm assuming it's you, the city planner, that the property at 9502 would be mowed within 2 weeks. It still has not been mowed.
Mayor, the resident emailed this afternoon as well. Parks and Rec Department has it scheduled to be mowed this week.
So it's like pulling nails and teeth with you guys to
Mayor,
get something done.
so when we enforce mowing, it's not for property maintenance purposes. It's partially for that, but it's also punitive. And we have to accommodate it within the regular schedule of the Park and Rec Department to get these accomplished. So that was the need for the delay.
And just to clarify too, so Charles had sent us all the email. I had
Yep.
spoke with you that next day. there's two sides to it and the attorney is online also.
Yeah, and we're working on the process for the hazardous building, so.
But I mean, even with Ken, my neighbor that was right next door to it, he's been getting messages and emails that said, you know, one of the reasons why the property didn't get mowed is because no mow May. Who cares about no mow May? You guys know for the last at least 5 years, as long as I've lived at where I've lived, that this is a constant issue with this property, that the grass gets 3.5 feet tall and it just stays stagnant.
And just to be clear, the city's not gonna mow it every time it's greater than 8 inches.
So can I mow it
At
and then go
most-
to you guys?
No, at most, we may do it once a month if not more.
Well, then I suggest you bring a baler with, because it's 4
Understood.
feet tall.
I was by it on Friday.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Any, yeah,
Well,
Corey?
Dan, is there any sort of citation we can put on the property?
Mayor, it is cited
Okay.
when it's mowed, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Abe Davis, 2 weeks ago, I asked about the bird's foot trefoil. Has anything been done with that? I know my neighbor down the street, Kim Gamo, works for Albertville. And when they were notified of the problem last year, they sprayed and got rid of most of it. Has anything happened on that front or more information? I know statewide on all these different gardening and horticulture sites, people are complaining like crazy that it started up in northern Minnesota and now it's spreading everywhere.
Mayor, staff did discuss it at our meeting following the council meeting last session. The plant isn't currently on the state's noxious weed list. So the city's not required to treat for it. Public Works would address it basically as they do their regular ditch mowing. Obviously, for a city the size of Otsego being much larger than Albertville, it's a much more challenging issue to take on.
So then nothing's gonna be done.
Mayor, if it's not on the noxious weed list, the city's not required to, and it would be done based on available resources.
Yeah, I'll just keep spraying it in my neighborhood. No problem, we'd be gone this wonders. Okay, the next thing is 2 weeks ago in the Elk River paper, there was an article written about hiring part-time firefighters here, which included Tina Goody on the list. She was asked for a comment, and to my surprise, which is rare, she had no comment and said that she would be making a comment within 2 weeks. Is that going to happen?
Yes,
Oh, good. Okay,
and it's Gady, not
Pardon?
Goody. It's Gady, not Goody.
okay. I gated it.
Mhm.
Okay. And the next thing is, I had talked to several people for the last couple of weeks. And they had indicated their displeasure at the appearance of a conflict of interest in Tina Gady's getting hired part-time on the fire department. They had also informed me that they had written letters and complaints to the Attorney General's office and to the state auditor about the conflict of interest. Has the city had any response from either entity or heard anything? Not yet? Okay.
Staff, have you?
Mayor, council, nothing received by the city.
Okay, just wanted to know. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I would like to know, so Tina addressed to all of us as a citizens of this Otsego is that you need to address why you are the conflict of interest, and I think it's very important for all of us. And another thing that I really want to say about the comment of she did is that the mayor has no problem spending money and things that we don't need, so you should not be concerned about the feedback for the cities for you guys, because you know how to spend our money and things that we don't need. Thanks.
Any other comments?
Good evening, council, Madam Mayor, everyone, people. Well, I talked to the chief And looks like January 1, we're going to be fully staffed. That's 6 months away. Again, having those two major fires within my little community, I can't be happier. Second, I had the pleasure, well, I don't know if you want to say pleasure, of being in the town of Cozad, C-O-Z-A-D, Nebraska last week. Right in the, if you take a look at the city of the map of Otsego, throw a dart in any little corner, and that's Cozad. Population just under 4,000 people. Well, they're taking on a water project of 4,000 people of over $13.6 million. If they can do it, we can certainly do it with 4 times, 5 times the population. Our water, our safety is just paramount. Also, Cozad has a wonderful little park system. Now, I know we're going to be redoing our parks, but are we getting a swimming pool with a slide? Do we have a campground coming that has 15 sites with electricity? Are we going to get a little airport like they have right next to the community center? This is a town of 4,000 people. It's really neat to see what they're doing. Keep up the great work, Council. Maybe someday we will get that swimming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, we will close the open forum and move on to consider our agenda for approval. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add or delete at this time?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I move to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Nope. Motion by Ryan, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item is our consent agenda. A motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I move to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item is city council reports and updates. Does anyone have anything?
Madam Mayor, I do.
Yes, Dean.
I'd like to read my statement here. So as in June, I do apologize for not being here. I did have a company meeting, so I was out of town, unfortunately. But to mayor, council members, and residents, I have expressed interest in serving our community in a part-time volunteer firefighter. Public service has always been important to me, and I believe strongly in supporting the safety and well-being of our residents in every way that I can. This has been something that has been of interest to me for many years. I now have the opportunity to fulfill a longtime dream of becoming a firefighter for our own city and our own fire station. Being able to serve this community in both capacities is something I take very seriously and I'm incredibly honored to pursue. Because the firefighter position is a compensated volunteer role, I want to be fully transparent about how this will be handled. I have made a formal disclosure regarding my participation and will follow all applicable Minnesota laws, city policies, and ethical guidelines related to conflicts of interest. I will be going through the same process as everyone else who is selected as a firefighter. There will be no special treatment in hiring, training, evaluation, compensation, or expectations. The position was publicly posted. Candidates went through the same application process and hiring decisions were made through the city's established procedures. Recently, concerns have been raised suggesting that my interest in serving as a firefighter creates a conflict of interest. I respect the public's right to ask questions and expect transparency from elected officials. However, a conflict of interest is a serious allegation and should be supported by facts, not assumptions, speculation, or political disagreement. Reasonable people can disagree on the creation of a fire department, its costs, or other policy decisions. That is part of healthy local government. What is not productive is attempting to transform those policy disagreements into ethical violations where none exist. Repeating an accusation does not make it true, and public trust is not strengthened by insinuation unsupported by evidence. In fact, public trust is strengthened when concerns are raised in good faith and evaluated based on facts. It is weakened when narratives are created to generate controversy rather than inform residents. I will be completing my 8 years of service on the city council and will not be seeking re-election in 2027. To ensure transparency and maintain public trust, I will recuse myself from any city council discussions or votes that directly involve firefighter compensation, employment matters, or any issue that could create a direct financial conflict of interest. This opportunity is about service to our community, supporting our growing city, and being part of a team dedicated to protecting our residents. Serving as a firefighter is not about personal gain. It requires significant training, commitment, sacrifice, and a willingness to respond when residents need help most. I am committed to handling both roles responsibly, ethically, and with the highest level of professionalism. I appreciate the trust the community places in its elected officials and first responders, and I remain committed to serving our city with integrity, transparency, and respect for the public trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other city council reports and updates?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I'd like to respond to some of those comments because I think there's a couple things said there that don't really align with what has occurred. I think upon reflection of our last meeting, it sort of became obvious to me that we may all be operating on a different definition of what a conflict of interest is. So I looked it up. Per Minnesota statute 471.87, a conflict of interest is when an elected official, or the law says that an elected official shall not voluntarily have a personal financial interest in the sale, lease, or contract, or personally benefit financially therefrom. Every public officer who violates this provision is guilty of a gross misdemeanor. I just heard that we need to make sure that we're talking about the facts, make sure that we have the evidence. So let's do that. The council member in question applied for the position on March 10th. From that point forward, she had a personal financial interest in obtaining employment with the city. That raises conflict of interest questions regarding her subsequent participation in fire department decisions. After applying for the position, she approved pay application number 15 for the fire station in the amount of $667,470.12. She interviewed the fire chief. She then hired the fire chief. She approved pay application number 16 in the amount of $927,569.05. Then received a conditional offer on May 21st to be hired. After receiving that offer, she approved pay application number 17 in the amount of $1,131,856.64. She also approved resolution number 2026-46 regarding the firefighter pension plan and approved a fire marshal contract, which had no amount assigned to it, but included more unplanned spending. The disclosure only occurred to the city council, and that was on June 15th via email. The public was never notified. During the period in which she was an applicant or had received a conditional offer, she participated in votes approving more than $2.7 million in fire department expenditures, along with the adoption of the city's firefighter pension plan and the fire marshal contract. She interviewed and hired her own boss, who would then interview her for the position on the city payroll. There was no disclosure to the council or to the public about the potential for conflicts of interest. I am happy to hear that this council member has agreed to recuse herself going forward, but the time for transparency was back in March. And the fact that there is going to be recusal going forward only draws these decisions into more question. But I think there is a critical misunderstanding that is being demonstrated here, and that is that the elected official gets to determine if a conflict of interest exists. There is a prevailing sentiment that the official, if they feel like they can remain objective or if the financial stake is small enough that the conflict is resolved. But integrity is not a personal feeling. It is a public standard. Conflicts of interest are not determined by the official who stands to benefit from them. They are determined and assessed by the public that we serve. When an official unilaterally decides that a potential conflict is not worth disclosing, they are not just making a personal choice, they are depriving the public of the right to make an informed judgment about their elected representatives. Transparency is not a luxury or a courtesy. It is the only mechanism that allows for the public to verify that their interests are being prioritized above personal gain. It is a fundamental component of self-governance. Depriving the people of that transparency is to undermine the very oath we have sworn to uphold. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just have a question for our legal counsel.
Dave?
Dave, in your opinion, do you think there's been a conflict of interest?
No, it's not a conflict of interest for a council member to serve on the city's fire department. And if there are future votes come up where the pay of volunteer firefighters is at issue, that potentially could be a conflict. It's not a conflict simply to serve on the fire department. It would be a case-by-case analysis, so there wouldn't be any. I mean, if Councilmember Gady wants to recuse herself from any or all future votes involving the fire department, she's free to do that. But it would not be required on a blanket measure. It would be dependent upon what the issue is up for vote.
Thank you. Anything, Corey?
Madam Mayor, Dave kind of in that same sort of line of thinking. I think in my time here on council, anytime there has been a possible conflict, staff has brought that forward to council and said, you should recuse yourself. It's happened many times, but I think Councilmember Gady was just, reiterating that, but it usually comes from staff if I'm right.
Well, sure. So if any council member who thinks they may have a conflict is welcome to consult with staff prior to the meeting to work through that, or is welcome to raise that themselves. So there's a variety of ways, or staff can raise it. It's ultimately the council member's decision whether they have a conflict, whether they need to recuse themselves, but staff can raise the issue as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a case-by-case analysis based on the vote before the council and whether that council member has a personal financial interest in that particular vote.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the only other comments I'd like to make is the fire station, the approval to move forward with construction occurred well before she ever applied for it, and sent in her application before she was honestly considered as a true applicant and gone through the rigorous interview process and the other things. I don't even know what they go through exactly to validate whether or not they're a good candidate or not. I imagine it's beyond just an interview. I think there's physical tests and stuff like that they have to pass. And as far as hiring fire chief and the fire marshal, that's separate from her application. She wasn't interviewed at that point in time. She wasn't even brought forward as a true candidate until later. And some of the other stuff, the decisions that were made, I'm not 100% sure with timelines and stuff like that. There's everyone that was involved in voting for these things. Yes, she was one of the people that voted. There was other people that were voting as well. And in all those cases, I want to say it was a 4-to-1 situation. If I remember correctly, I don't have all my notes in front of me, but so whether or not she recused herself or her vote was discounted, it still would have moved forward. So just wanted to point that out.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Ryan.
On that specific point, the law is very clear. In fact, I could quote it. It's 471.88. It says, when there is a conflict, it does not matter if the vote would have passed anyway. The mere fact that there was a conflict negates all agreements. And that was because I've been looking into this. That was validated by the Minnesota Supreme Court decades ago. In that case, the council member wasn't receiving a special payment or wasn't even named in the contract of the agreement that the council approved. He was simply an employee of the company receiving the city's business. The court still found that to be an impermissible indirect financial interest, and the mere presence of the conflict nullified the entire agreements. The law doesn't ask whether a council member receives special benefit. It asks whether the council member receives any benefit at all. That's what determines a conflict.
Dave, can you comment on that?
Sure. So, for example, when Councilmember Gady voted on the contracts to construct the fire department, she was not an employee of the contractor that was going to construct the fire department. So she would have had a personal financial interest if she was employed by the company that was going to build the fire department that was receiving the contract from the city. But that's not the case here. So I don't believe she had a conflict when she voted on contracts for construction of the fire department, for example.
Ryan, do you have any comment on it? You look like you were going to say something.
I guess I would just, we continue to put the attorney in an interesting position. I guess my question to the attorney would be, would it have been illegal for the council member to disclose the potential conflict of interest back in March?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I don't think she had a potential conflict of interest.
So would it have been illegal if she had disclosed to the public that she had a potential conflict of interest back in March?
I don't know. I can't speculate on that.
Madam Mayor, I think it's just important, with
Mhm.
all due respect to our city attorney, I just think it's important to take a moment to clarify that what the role of the city attorney is. And I think there's often a misunderstanding about who they represent. To be clear, the city attorney is not the personal attorney for the citizens, nor are they a personally attorney for the members of this council. The city attorney represents only one client, the incorporated city, the entity of Otsego. So in that capacity, their primary job is to protect the city as an institution, often by ensuring that this council does not take actions that expose the city to unnecessary liability or legal error. However, we must remember that the responsibility for protecting the rights of our citizens does not rest with the city attorney. That responsibility rests solely with the five of us sitting at this dais. Because that responsibility is ours alone, we should hold it in the highest regard. To that end, I believe we should always be comfortable with radical transparency, even and perhaps especially when the city attorney advises that such transparency is technically unnecessary. Where the law sets the floor of what we must disclose, our duty to the public sets the ceiling for what we should be transparent about.
Sabrina, since you are our HR person, do you have any comments regarding this process, timelines? I assume you did work with the attorney because you're required to also check in with them if they're required.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so it was an open recruitment as we always do. Same process for everyone. Really a big thing also I think is important to remind people is we can't disclude people just on speculation. A lot of it has to be based on, pre-employment screens that are unqualified. We had quite a few candidates that didn't move forward because of their pre-employment screening, and Councilmember Gady passed all of them. And from my seat, that is what matters. We discussed with her was the recusal of herself from future firefighting or fire benefits, and pay. But I also worked for a city that had a ambulance member / volunteer firefighter that was on the council. Yeah, so it's been familiar to me in the past.
Any other comments?
Madam Mayor, just one final thing.
Yes, right.
On that issue, I think it's not clear to me that we followed the proper procedure. I looked at the League of Minnesota Cities, their advice on conflicts of interest, and there is a provision in the law that allows, of course, for council members to be members of the volunteer fire department. But according to the League of Minnesota Cities and the state auditor, the process that we are supposed to follow is that we would hire them through separate resolution that would have to be voted on unanimously by the remaining members of the council. The conflicted member would have to recuse himself from that vote. And that didn't occur. So I'm not sure where that leaves us.
Any comment on that?
That's the process for making a contract with a city council member.
Employment is considered a contract, from my understanding. At least that's what the league says.
Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's noted in all of our job descriptions, no position should be construed as a contract. The only position that has a contract actually with the role would be any 1099 employees or the city administrator. That would be from my seat how we implement it in HR.
Mayor, Council, if I may, it'd be advantageous if this discussion were to happen, that everyone was accessible to the same information and that was shared, so that this discussion could be vetted out properly ahead of the meeting. So if we're going to reference league documents, statutes, anything, I would ask that staff please be provided those for review and can make suggestions or recommendations at a future meeting based on that research. So,
Ryan, can you send the documents that you had referred to?
Yeah, they're publicly available documents. I will be happy to include them and make sure that everybody is aware of what the League of Minnesota Cities says, as well as the Office of the State Auditor.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other comments?
Madam Mayor, I think I would just reiterate what Councilmember Lund said last meeting, and it was she's putting her life on the line for $16 an hour, and it's part-time.
So, Madam Mayor, I think those, those kind of comments and the decisions surrounding this issue really signal to the citizens that this council is not going to take conflicts of interest seriously. Conflicts of interest are not resolved based on the dollar amount. And I will again inform the council that the Office of the State Auditor recently completed an investigation into the mayor of the city of Good Thunder and found that he violated this specific law. He was convicted on those charges. One of the violations was for an amount less than the amount we are talking about here. So the amount does not matter.
But you're saying everybody here is wrong except you. The mayor is wrong, council is wrong, that our staff is wrong, our attorney's wrong.
It turns out people can make mistakes.
Yeah, they can.
Mayor, Council.
Yes.
Statute is very clear that part-time employment with the city is not prohibited in state statute. At its simplest form, I'm not getting into the ethics or the conflict of interest aspect of it. A council member's part-time employment with the city fire department is not prohibited by state statute.
That's correct.
Okay. So Ryan will provide those other documents. Agreed with Adam that part-time employment is not prohibited.
Correct. In fact, I can tell everybody just right now, under Minnesota 471.87, it goes under, and then Minnesota 471.88 goes through the procedures for allowable exceptions. Having a council member as a firefighter is under subdivision 6. And it specifically restates that it requires a unanimous vote.
Okay.
But I will be happy to provide all of that.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? All right, we will move on to staff reports and updates. Item 6.1 is to consider scheduling a special city council meeting on August 11th.
Mayor, Council, you've all provided availability for a budget review meeting on August 11th. Time will be based on your availability. Referencing state statute, we do need to adjourn that meeting by 6 p.m. that evening, given that it is a primary election day. No governing body activities between 6 and 8 p.m. that evening. So time, staff is available anytime after 8 a.m., subject to your availability.
Okay. Council?
In the past, I think we've started around 11.
I would say
11
that
or noon.
that's fair. Yep.
If we need to be out of here by 6, is 11 okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you prefer earlier?
11 is just fine there.
Okay. Does 11 work for everyone?
Yeah.
Earlier would be nicer, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can meet earlier.
8 a.m. is great for me,
I can come whenever too.
I'm available whenever that.
but
meeting
I'm
is.
flexible. Let's double check on the calendar.
I'm fine with 8 a.m. That day I'm available.
I would just say I don't think 8 a.m. is very respectful of the staff's time.
Actually, Adam said staff would prefer earlier.
Mayor, any time is available for staff. We need to be present at the meeting, whether it's 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 p.m., whatever the start time is, we'll be there and present the information. So.
Want to start at 8?
Ryan, are you available if we started at 8?
I'm available. I would prefer a different time, but if we need to do it at 8, we can.
Totally flexible. So
What does everyone want to do?
8 o'clock works. That's what
That's
I
what
do.
Michelle wants to
Yeah.
say. Okay.
Yes, that would be helpful.
You obviously have something later to get to. Corey,
Deadlines.
does 8 work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Tina and Ryan, you can make it work. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Then I will make a motion to call for a special meeting for budget starting at 8 a.m. on August 11th. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Jessica, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, moving on to Sabrina for updates.
Thank you, Mayor. We had our new park maintenance individual start today, park maintenance 2, Brent. And then as noted in the council consent agenda, we have an internal staff promotion to a supervisor, which is always great. We've had some good internal hires, which has been pretty cool. And then a seasonal maintenance that was hired full-time. So pretty cool to have some succession in there from seasonals and girls. So that's been pretty fun.
Great.
That's it.
Adam?
Mayor, Council, as noted in the update last week, the city was awarded $500,000 on the outdoor recreation grant through the DNR for the Prairie Park Phase 1 project. You've all been invited to a groundbreaking at Fosswin School next Monday. And then staff is staying apprised with the school district as well with their potential referendum questions. So we're meeting with them, some youth organizations here in the coming weeks, just to make sure the city's up to date on everything that they're planning.
Adam, what time is the groundbreaking? Noon. Okay.
Thank you.
I won't show up 4 hours late.
Audra.
Mayor, thank you. Just a couple election updates. Candidate filing does open tomorrow, Tuesday, July 14th, and closes July 28th, 2 weeks later at 5 p.m. Our public accuracy test for the upcoming primary election will be this Thursday at 2 o'clock here at Prairie Center. And early voting will start on Friday, July 24th at City Hall, where people can vote and put their ballot right into the ballot counter.
Perfect. Thank you. Dave?
Nothing to report. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Dan?
Mayor, just a quick update. The Planning Commission has a meeting next Monday, July 20th. One item on the agenda is changing occupancy for the former Northdale Construction industrial site on 71st Street on the west side of the city.
Thank you. Ron?
No updates, Mayor.
Chief McCoy?
Thank you. Again, I appreciate you swearing in our two firefighters. Both of them started last week. It's wonderful to get them up here in front of everybody. They're both great individuals, and they've been working hard since they started. We also started Marshall Smith. He's also hit the ground running. What an asset he is. The fire trucks arrived from Pierce 2 weeks ago now, I think. Stop by, visit, see the trucks. One of the things that captain and firefighter are working on is buying equipment for those. And then we start our training for our part-time firefighters this week. We ordered them rental gear off from a company that's used by other fire departments in the state of Minnesota. So hopefully that shows up as we slide into firefighter 1, because we're starting with hazmat, which is the toughest part of firefighter training. So if we get them through hazmat, we'll get them to the end. So pretty exciting. Lots of stuff going on right now. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I like seeing that Otsego fire flag up there flying. Looks good.
Yeah, we have one outside, and they look great. We have one inside on a stand like that. So thank you to Chief Scott for organizing that and getting that ready for us. So looks good.
Yep.
So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Sergeant Altmans?
Coming up without a notebook, so we'll see how this goes. Couple things, new hires for us. It's pretty crazy. If you looked at our social media posts, we had 5 new deputies start. Certainly the reoccurring theme, not to beat a dead horse on it, but if you look at the ages of the pictures, you get, oh my God.
I actually said that to one of the other deputies. I said, at first I thought it was like the Explorer program.
Yeah.
But I guess we're getting older.
One of those cases. So they are out. They got through the academy, and they're already assigned to their field training officers. So they are out and about right now. I just actually was on calls today with them. So actually, considering how young they are, they're really well spoken. They really interact with the public really well in uniform, which is always like the biggest hurdle to jump over, is just simply talking to people in this and how much of a dynamic that is. It's kind of interesting. So they're actually doing really well so far with that aspect. That part on, hey, how does this radio work, is kind of one of those things that they're trying to accomplish all at the same time. So that's been going well. I've made comments, I think, in the past of like how there is a direct correlation between call load and temperature. That is absolutely true. We have been absolutely flying. So I worked this last weekend here and today, and we'll be working tomorrow. The call load is absolutely just crazy, where it's just whether people get really upset with one another when it's that hot out, everybody's out and about. Medical amount that we run into, it's just, it's been just absolutely flying. From call to call to call. I literally have not taken a break other than when I'm going to sleep since Friday. So we are definitely staying busy. Appreciate a lot of the deputies that have been staying late, coming in early, trying to accomplish some things when we're getting hung up on bigger calls. So that's been working really well. Like this weekend we had Waverly Days was going on, and then Monty River Fest was going on. So we have all that it's just kind of all hands on deck type of a deal. So and then, traffic complaints are still coming in. I've had a lot of really good conversations with a lot of residents, and really transparent conversations as far as residents in town specifically on what we're trying to accomplish and how I can, get squad cars in our neighborhoods. Again, e-bikes, scooters, etc. are continuing to be probably the number one thing that we're receiving right now. We'll see.
Was there an incident it wasn't in Otsego, but in Wright County on Friday, correct? An accident?
You'll have to say which one.
Oh,
I hate to say
okay.
that, but like.
Okay, I guess there's been a few.
I think I responded to myself by a different motor vehicle accident with injuries just on Saturday.
Oh, no.
So that was just me. So I'm including everything else that was going on around the county. Yeah. So we had one on Friday that was on our social media.
Yes.
I think made the rounds. So there's been a break in that case that's positive. So that's all I'll say about that, I guess, for the time being. So I think what else we got going on. Well, I got public safety. I can take up your time tomorrow on that. So, like I said, really busy. To my point, I was on a call just trying to get over here. I was stuck on a call, so I was coming over here and logged into Zoom real quick so I could keep an eye on what was going on, or listen to at least. And of course, Commissioner Holland's making nice positive things about. I'm not even in the back of the room to hear it. He's like, Jason's really great at this, and I'm not even here. So.
But you got to hear, you got to listen.
Him flying in. I appreciate the time. So I think that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Does anyone have anything?
No.
All right.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason.
All right. If no one else has anything, then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Second.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending this evening.